Do you want to learn how to throw lineups like this?
Launching Thorns.
Welcome to my lineups and setups guide for Vyse. I'm going to cover every single map in Valorant, and I will continue to update in case they do add more maps in the description and comments below. I will be going over setups for both A and B site, as well as lineups from A to B site if possible. A big part of this character is being able to throw lineups from very far, so you can defend from multiple sites. I'm also going to be showing you flank watch walls, as well as lineups for A, B, and maybe even C, depending on certain maps. And then I'll also be showing some good lineups that are just generally good to know. Maybe if you want to push up mid, oh, this is a good lineup for that. I'm hoping to give you guys as much information with this video. If you guys do learn something in this video, feel free to like or subscribe even. I make weekly content on all things Valorant, whether it's Valorant ranked or what I'm thinking about on the game. So please feel free to check out my other videos. And yeah, without further ado, let's get on with it. All right, so for the first map, we're going to be starting with Abyss. I'm going to show you the setups for A site. So a lot of these walls will be using this bookcase here since it gives us multiple angles. One of my favorites is right on this green book on the bottom. This is because this is where the plant is on this line and they have to trip the wall. Another good one is right on this book in the middle here. Pretty self-explanatory. It just cuts them off from entering site. And if you are trying to watch mid, I definitely recommend putting this wall. This is a really strong wall, largely because they have to push really far just to trip it. So you can just ignore it for the most part. Another one you can do is right here on this corner. If they keep jumping on this right side, it'll cut them all off. All right, for flashes, the first one I'm going to do is right on this back wall. It sees basically every angle on here and up to here, so retakes are much easier. I will also sometimes put it on this back wall if I know they're trying to plant the right side, especially since they can't see it very well, and it makes it a lot easier on the retake. Another one I'll do is right on this wall here. I'll usually do this one when I want to play for myself or a teammate on main. It's good because it's all up in their face and it's very difficult to dodge. If you're looking to get information, the best way is either to put it on top of this pillar over here. This will scan a little bit into nest as well as deep into main, or you can go at the start of the round and pop it over here on the side wall. This will flash anybody on the entrance and force them to tank the flash and give info. Now for Thorns, there's a couple that I like to do. For the first one, I like to put it on this little patch here in front of the line. This will make it to where it covers all of this area and to where they can't jump on top of this thing here. For the second one, I either put it right here in this corner. That way it covers everything up on the run out. If you're trying to push mid on defense, a good lineup you can do is right over here. You'll see these two rocks. Just look towards the middle of them and do a left click throw. This will land all the way over into this choke and force anybody trying to push through and rotate or push towards mid to take a lot of damage. Unfortunately, because of how big this building is in the middle, you can't really line it up from B site to A site. However, what you can do is on the rotate, come to this corner. You'll see this little triangle. Just line it up with the bottom left of your menu and then do a jump throw. Alternatively, if you want to hit this part of sight instead, you can look at this shadow here and look at the bottom of it and do the same thing. Second one will land right here. First one will land here, covering both areas. All right, for walls on B site, there's a few good ones you can do. My favorite one is actually to put it on this little yellow line here. This will cut anybody off from actually hitting the site. And it's really hard to trip since you need to expose yourself to every single angle to do it. So, and because it's very hard to push this right side, it's just a really good wall. Another one I'll sometimes do is this one here. This will make it to where they have to peek the angle to actually trip it, and I can punish that very easily. Another one you can do is right on this box here, covering here to here. Just be careful if your teammate smokes for this, since it'll make it much easier for them to trip it. And for the last one, you can just put it on the edge of this box like so. They have to trip this and commit to as many angles as possible. I usually do this one and this one before I do these two, largely because they're just better. For flashes, usually I'll put it on this back wall and do a jump. As you can see, it covers everything on the run out. Another one you can do is by jumping and throwing it on here. As you can see, it does the same thing. However, they may be able to dodge it just because it's off on the right. Another one you can do is right off of barrier drop is throw it here. The reason being is because they normally do not. Now, they can hear this flash when it gets popped. However, they won't be able to see it, so it can be anywhere on this wall. I've gotten a lot of kills just off doing this. It's a very strong flash. Another good one for information is right over here. Make sure it's lined up with this on the map. That way, they're not able to hide behind this. And for Thorns, there's a couple you can do. Normally, when I'm doing this wall here, I'll place my Thorns right on the side here on this yellow dot. So cover everything and basically make it to where they can't run out. However, if I'm going for this wall here, I'll usually just throw it right here on this corner. That way it covers as much as possible.
Oh my God!
That way they are forced to take this fight here, which is very unfavorable. It also makes it to where you can't jump on here. Now, if you're trying to line up your Thorns from A to B, you can stand in this corner on this big box. See this waterfall here? You'll just look at this green part and do a running jump throw. So we'll travel all the way over here. Now, why I chose this spot instead of over here is because of this reason. You can't really shoot it very well from here, and even from here, meaning that if they want to break this, they need to be as close as up to here. And this will cover most of the chokes, as well as part of this side. All right, let's move on to our flank watch walls. For the first one, if I'm pushing towards A, I'll just put it on this wall here. For flank watch mid, it is a little more difficult, largely because there are 2 chokes you need to cover, and with one wall, you can't do both of them. Now, you can do something like this. However, this only covers 1, and you would not use your wall up there. It's just not worth it. However, if you are going B and you just want to get the flank for mid, you can do this wall here. This will at least let you know if there's somebody swinging quickly here. Otherwise, they'll have to take this if they want to really flank, which buys you a little more time at the very least. One benefit to using this wall in particular is the fact that I can play over here towards mid without having to worry too much about this. All right, so for lineups on A, we're going to go ahead and start in this corner. For the first one, what I'm going to do is line up the Thorns like dot and just left click throw. This will land backside here and make it perfect to where they have to hold here or risk taking damage from the Thorns, which is favorable for your teammates. For the second lineup, we're gonna stand in this corner instead on the right side. You're gonna see this disc and you're gonna line up that same cursor with it, and then you're just gonna do a jump throw. This will land right on back sight here and thorn them all up. Added bonus of using this one, they will never see this because of how far up it is. Unless they hear it for some reason, they're not looking up like this, so they won't break it. And because it covers all of this here, they have to take this fight here, which is really bad. For mid lineup, what you're gonna do is stand here in this corner. You're gonna see where this orange part meets the corner. Just throw. So land right in the corner and cut off any rotators. For the next mid lineup, we're going to be using this corner instead of that one. You'll see where this building meets the orange and the grayish part, and you'll just look a little bit to the right of that and left click throw. This will force anybody trying to cross to take a lot of damage. For B lineups, we'll be utilizing this box here. I'm going to start in this corner of this box. And what you're going to do is line up the Thorns dot with this corner here and throw. Alternatively, you can use the bottom part of the same menu on the same corner, and then you can just throw as well. The first one will land here in this field, covering all of this and anybody trying to fight this angle. It also stops anybody from jumping on this box, which is nice. And the second one will hit this heaven area and kill anybody who's trying to, you know, swing here. For the other lineups, you can go ahead and use this corner. And I'm going to look at this with the same part of my menu and just left click throw. This will land back sight and allow your teammates to, you know, push through without too much hassle. If I'm playing post plant with my wall, I will sometimes use it over on here like so. Otherwise, I'll put it on this right here. That way it cuts them off from diffusing the spike. Another good post plant wall is right here if you have it planted on the left. That way they are forced to get off the diffuse. A good post plant wall for A is right on this here. Forces them to take the fight. Another good post plant wall is right here if you have plenty of space. Alrighty, so moving on to Ascent, I think this is a really strong map for her. We're going to start with setups on A. One of my favorite walls is to place on this corner. That way it cuts any players trying to go for switch and allows your teammates to gank them. Another wall I like to do is right here on this little sleeve. Another one that I do like to do is this one right here. I largely do this when I'm playing shotgun. I mean, you can imagine, cross that wall, bang, bang, they're dead. Alternatively, I'll do it on this plant as well. That way they have to peek pretty far to actually trip the wall. Really good flash here, right on top of this corner here. This is what it sees. Another one that I like to do is actually on this box right here. Although it may seem like it's in a very breakable position, the whole point is so it's as close as possible to flash them as long as possible. For Thorns, I usually like to just put it over by this green patch and a little under, like so. This will cover all of this area and make it much more difficult to hit switch. Sometimes I will put it here if I know they're going to commit towards A, but most of the time, I'll save it for a lineup. If you stand in this corner and you look towards this cloud with the screw, a little bit to the left, just do left click throw. This will land right over to the B site and make it much more difficult for them to hit switch, as well as push out towards site. For setups on B, what I'll normally do is just place either a wall here on this corner. You can place one for this switch. However, be careful with this one, as this will make it easier for them to hit lane. Or I'll throw one over by pizza, which allows me to hold mid without having to actually hold it. For my flashes, there's a couple things I'll do. I'll either throw it out towards main for information. This will scan tiles and be main. I'll put this before the barriers drop, and I'll swing off of it with either myself or a teammate. Sometimes I do put it up here, which clears them on the run out. If I want to play towards site instead, I'll just throw it on this pillar here, and this will clear all of lane as well as a good chunk of stairs. For Thorns, there's a couple that I like to do. If I have a lot of players pushing towards boat, I'll usually put one right under here, punishing them from swinging further. So another Thorns I'll do is over on this red pillar right here. Very nice, as you can see, covers everything. I actually had to change it because of the nerf. You are not able to do it here anymore, so unfortunate. If you're looking for a lineup from B to A, what you can go ahead and do is line in this. See this third window? Look to the right of it and do a jump throw. And this will land right into A main and cover up the choke completely, making it very difficult to push out. For flank walls, some of the best is right here. Don't do it like this because you can jump over this one with the bike. If you're trying to push A and need to watch flank, do it here instead. That way you get more of a warning compared to here. For flank watch on B, there's a couple you can do. One of my favorites is right here if I'm trying to push towards B, as it gives me a little bit more time to react. However, if you do need to do flank watch for B, just throw it here or throw it inside when the barriers drop if you need more time. For the first lineup for your Thorns, you're going to stand in this box. You'll see this building. You're going to line up your wall with the bottom of this building and just throw. This will land near Gen and punish any players playing Hell and people trying to jump out of heaven. All right, so standing in the same spot, what we're going to go ahead and do is line up the cursor with the top of the bolt and then look down just a little bit. This will land right over here on heaven, and we'll cover all of dice as well as up here on the run out. Standing in the same spot, you line up the bottom right of your menu with this little piece of metal here. And with just the left click throw, it'll land right over here and mark it. What's good about this is if you smoke here, it can make it very easy for you to push up here, maybe break an alarm bot or a trip, or even push further once you get the space. If I know somebody's pushing mid a lot, what I'll go ahead and do is stand in this box here once again and line up with this building where it meets the other building with my cursor and just throw. This will go all the way on top of here and then land in this corner, punishing any players trying to play around here and be annoying. For lineups for B, what you're going to go ahead and do is stand in this corner, and you'll see this circle. Just click on it. This will land right over here and do a lot of damage if anybody's playing towards stairs. And in the same spot, you can look at just this giraffe towards its head. This will land right here on market and cover the entire run out. All right, so starting with setups on A, one of my favorite walls is to throw one on the bottom left of this wheel. This right here is where you can plant, and once they trip this, which they have to, they will not be able to plant for 5 to 6 seconds. And although it looks like you can pass through this, you can't. It is impossible to pass through. Another one I like to do is over here on this bench for showers. Nothing too much to say here. It's just pretty good. If you're feeling risky, you can go ahead and place one over here in the corner of showers. That way they'll have to trip it to give information. Another good wall is across like this. This will cut off any players. Definitely punish this with the judge for sure. As for flashes, some of my favorite ones are on top of this box. This will look good into showers as well as into main. It's very easy to play off of since I cannot get flash from a lot of angles, as you can see. Another one I like to do is right on top of this wall up here. This will clear a lot of angles and make it very easy for me to swing off of. Another one I like to throw is by standing in this corner and looking just a little bit up. So this will clear almost every single angle and make your retakes a lot easier since they will not be able to break this. So for Thorns, a few that I like to do is one right behind this corner here. It'll clear all of this and make it easy to play with your shotgun here. Another one I like to do is right on top of this box here. Make sure it's not too close to the wall like I did there. That way they don't see it through the wall. If you're looking for a lineup from A to B, you can just stand in this corner here and you'll take the triangle of your cursor and then you'll just take a couple steps forward and then do a jump throw.
Launching Thorns. Thorns activated.
What's great about this is you cannot jump out of hookah with this. So you can stall for a lot longer than you'd think. All right, so setting up for B, some of the common walls I do is right here on this door. Makes it harder to trip and when they come out. Another one that I like that is cheeky is right here. If they trip it, I can play on top of this box and shoot over the wall, which is really nice. Another one I like to do is on this corner here, especially if I have a raise. This allows us to go ahead and nade here and kill any potential players. Otherwise, I'll just put it on this wall here, as you can see. Another good one is right here on the right side of tube. This will cut off any players and, you know, force them to take this fight. Another good one is on the right here. This will cut off any players from entering the right side of site and splitting this site in two. There's a lot of good walls to do on B, so I definitely recommend setting up here on most rounds. If you're looking for some good flashes, some great ones are on this back line here. They can't see it unless they get all the way up here. So most of the time it'll just go unbroken. And as you can see, it clears every single angle. So really good. Another good flash is right here on top of the tube. This will get all up close and personal with them and they will not be able to dodge us. I've gotten so many kills off that. If you're looking for places to put your thorns, usually I'll just go ahead and place it right here. This will stop any players from actually pushing through. Another good one is right here in the corner, especially if I'm trying to fight here with a teammate. They can play in this corner here, while I sit here and punish any players playing on the right side. If you're looking for lineups from B to A, we can go ahead and do a stand in this corner. You'll see this pipe here, and you'll just put your cursor like that and do a jump throw. Looking to defend showers, what you can go ahead and do is, and then line up with the claw on the middle bar and do a jump throw. This will land right here and help defend showers, and the first one will land here, helping defend short. All right, for flank watch over here, I'm gonna put my wall right on these little barrels. This will keep anybody from pushing A to B. For flank watch from B, I'll put my wall right on this corner. Just do know they can go through here if they really want to. It's just a really long flank, so you'll have a lot more time to deal with it. Unfortunately, that's just what happens with Vyse because she only has one wall. Wall that I don't see a lot of people do is this one right here. A lot of the time, people will open TP and then walk through and then have nothing to do. So if you're trying to line up for B, but I'll go ahead and do a stand in this corner. See this little box here, and I'll line up the left side of my cursor with that, and then I'll just throw. This will land right here and punish any players swinging right of tube, as well as back sight. In the same corner, I'm going to look at this little like disc thing, and I'm going to line up the left bar with it. This will land right over here and punish any players in cubby as well as right side tube. And this is what it looks like together. If you're looking to do the same here, you'll just stand in this corner. You'll see this second string thing popping out of the building, and you'll just put your left side of your menu with that and throw. This will land back sight with the same lineup. For the second one in the same corner, I'm going to line the right side of my menu with the edge of this door and throw. This is what they look like together. Any two players are crying with this, and you cannot play backside without dying. For attack lineups on A, you can stand over here on the top and bottom of this thing. Starting with the bottom, you'll look at this little box here, and you'll look a little bit above that and throw. Standing on top of the box, you'll see this shadow with the little disc here, and you'll just line up the cursor with that and throw. This first one will land back sight, and it will cover any players trying to leave lamps as well as rotate. This one will land here, and will hit any players trying to push past triple, as well as a little bit over on the truck side as well. For post plant, I'll usually place my wall here. That way anybody trying to play towards the spike will die. Sometimes I'll also put it on this right wheel if I plant it in the corner here. That way they'll get cut off from the spike. For post plant on B, sometimes I'll place my wall here. However, this is really risky as they usually are playing towards that angle. If they trip it, they're cut off on this site and elbow. So alternatively, I'll place my wall like so. That way any elbows players will die when they're trying to run out. So now we are on Breeze. Firstly, you can do this at barrier drop, and this will cut anybody off. Another one you can do is right here on the side. Very simple, very easy. And if you do want to cut off this cubby area, you can do that by placing either here, or if you want a little more wider, like so. It just gives them less angles to play. Another good one is right here, and this is the one I'll actually use most of the time. Quite literally cuts them off. Just be careful because they can plant a little bit easier on here, so you should have like some sort of thorns or something like that. Another one you can do is right on this box here, cover this and force them into this left side, which I'll normally have some sort of thorns to stop. For flashes, I'll either put it right on this pyramid like so. That way I can get up close and really flash them. You can also scan for information, of course, which is nice. Nothing too crazy about this. Another one you can do is right over here in halls if you want to scan for information. This will land here and flash anybody trying to push out. For Thorns, there's a couple you can do. One of my favorites is right here on this line here. Just click and this right here. And forces anybody who's trying to push through here to back off. Another one I'll end up doing is right up. They can't really see it until they get really close. So this will stop any planters from actually trying to go for the plant. You can also do it on this right side here, cutting off any players from hitting past here. And then if you just want to get the choke itself, all you have to do is line up with this pyramid and look at the bottom of the pyramid and throw. This will cover most of the choke and make it very difficult for them to push through, especially with this wall here. All right, so for this next lineup, we're gonna stand on the bottom left pyramid. You're gonna see this building here with this silo. You're just gonna look in this general area and do a run jump throw.
Launching Thorns.
We'll land all the way on B site over here and cover the choke as well as a little bit of elbow. If you're looking to cover a little bit of mid with your wall instead, you can go up here and place it right on this cloth. Like so. This way they have to expose themselves to a lot of angles, especially when it comes to tunnel. Another mid wall you can do is right over here on this barrel. Push up just a little bit to actually get through the wall. Just be careful because I do believe they can jump over this. It's more so just for the information. Now let's move on to the walls for B. One of my favorite ones is actually to place right here. And so usually with this wall, what I'll do is I'll place it in this corner here. Now what happens is when they start to execute sight, I'll place the Thorns. They'll trip the wall and then you're able to actually hug this area and hold close. They usually don't expect this. Another wall you can do is right here. This way it just stops anybody from pushing through, and you can do the same here, I guess. You can also just put it on this pipe here to cut off any players from hitting past here. Now for flashes, you can put it on this pillar like so. That way they don't see it as quickly and it still blinds them for a long time. Another one you can do is right here on this back wall. It's a lot harder to break compared to this one up here, but it just does not flash as long. If you're looking for information, you can of course throw your flash through here like always, which is nice. And for the last one, I'll sometimes put it on top of here. That way it can still flash up here, but also flash over here, which is the big part, as you can see. Normally either be playing here, that way I can swing off of it like so, or swing to the right if I know there's a player there. For Thorns, I like to place it on this box here. This will cover most of the choke and make it to where they can't jump on top of this box as well. I already showed you the other Thorns, but you can place it like right in this corner if you're pairing it with this wall, as it will cover this entire area. However, if you're looking for a lineup from B to A, what you'll go ahead and do is come to the spawn on this box. You're gonna see this piece of wood here. You're gonna line up your ult icon with that and do a jump throw. To fly all the way to sight and land right in front of this pyramid, forcing them to take damage if they want to plant. If you are looking to cut off this side of sight instead, you can line the bottom of your rows instead, and then you'll just do a jump throw. So land right here in front of the box and cover as much as possible on this right side. I would actually say this helps a lot more with the push because they cannot play this angle at all, meaning they have to push this side, which is bad. If you're trying to stop the choke here, here's the lineup, and I'm going to line up the bottom little bar with this piece of wood here, and then I'm going to do a run and jump throw. It'll take a little bit of practice, but once you get it, it'll land right here in the middle here, and it'll do a ton of damage. Now let's start with our flank watch walls. For the first one, I'll just do it right here on this corner. Very simple, nothing too crazy here. However, if I am attacking towards A, I will just put it here instead. If you want to go for more space, you can just do it on this silo here, and this will allow you to keep vent space as well. And then of course, you can just do it over here as well. Same thing. Just make sure it's not too close to the stairs because they can jump over this. Like, I think actually I jumped over it right then and there, so you might want to put it right towards this painting. And yeah, walls for flank are really simple on this map. You'll usually just want to lean towards one side, so either that one or the one over there. All right, so for our A lineups, I'm going to stand on this rock. I'm going to see these 3 leaves here towards the edge. Look at the second one and then look down. And then you'll just do a jump throw. So land over here in back sight, and force them to take a little bit of damage if they want to defend this area. And using the same spot, you'll see these 2 leaves popping out of the building. What you'll look at is the top one and do a run throw. So land right here and force anybody trying to pass through and rotate to help the team to take damage. And in the same spot, I'm gonna see like these vines coming out of the building. You'll line up with the right side and just click. This will land all the way on stairs
Thorns activated.
and cut off anybody trying to rotate, as well as play on top of stairs. All right, so we're gonna get into this corner, and you'll see this cannon here. Line up your flash with the cannon and just do left click throw.
Rip and tear.
This will land all the way on top mid and force anybody trying to rotate through mid to take damage, or make it easier for your teammates to push through. If you're trying to hit nest with your thorns, which would be here, what you can do is stand in this corner in mid. All right, so you're gonna see these vines on the side of the building. We're just gonna line up with the bottom of them and
Rip
throw.
and tear.
Land right in
Thorns
here
activated.
and cover all of this choke. For lineups on B, we're gonna go over to spawn. And you're gonna see this wooden plank right here. Just line up with it and look at the corner of this building and do a left click throw.
Launching Thorns.
So land back
Thorns are
here
alive.
on the back site and make it harder for them to, you know, push through here and take the fight. For the second lineup, we'll be using the same spot, and we'll also be looking in the same spot, but instead of just left click throwing, we'll do a jump throw.
Rip and tear.
This will land all the way back site and allow your teammates to push through elbow without having them swing this angle. This is what they look like together and allows you guys to actually focus sight. And for my last lineup on B, stand next to this plank once again. You'll see this cannon and this flag. Just look where they meet together like so, and then do a jump throw.
Launching Thorns.
This will land in their spawn here and force any rotators to take 100 damage or delay the rotate like so. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to Fracture. I think this is a really strong map for Vyse. Unfortunately, there is a big building, so that means a lot of our lineups are restricted, either by having to go on this side or that side. So starting with setups on A, first one will be in this corner. I like to do this when I either want to play here or play in this corner and really try to play up close. For my second wall, I do like to do on this step right here. Now the whole point of this is to get them to trip it, of course, but also give them this path on purpose. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and place our thorns right over here, and anybody who is crossing through this will take 100 or even more damage. If you have players who like to push this side here, what you can do is place a wall right here on this pixel. There we go, right here.
Placing wall trap.
This will force them to go through the right side instead, and you can even funnel traps right here, force them to take damage. Wall is also really good over by this door here. You can place it on this. You can place it up close like this, or you can place it all the way back here if they keep tripping it and you want them to commit to more space before tripping it. You can also place it on this. This is good if you want to play over towards this little stool here and just pop out whenever, especially if you have a flash like here. It can be so good. Look at this. Imagine the possibilities. So I'm just going to show you a couple of setups that I like to do in particular. For the first one, like I showed you, the bait setup that I really like. This one is just nutty. I'm going to just place one right over here. And then I'll usually just place my flash right here. And so basically how it works is wall gets tripped, funnel up here, take a bunch of damage. Anybody walking down here takes damage. Anybody walking on the right takes damage, and the splash. If you're in low elo, this will carry you. I guarantee it. Second setup, I'll usually do this if I have like a judge and I'm on an eco. Put the wall in this corner right here, and then I'll usually do the same lines on this so that they get damaged. After that though, I will just either hold here or here. I'll know if they hit this left side, so I can just hold this right side. All right, moving on to walls for B. I'll usually place this wall since they do have to commit to a lot of angles here, specifically that one and that one, as well as that one. Another good one I like to do, this will cut the sight in two, and if you have like a flash right here, it can be very deadly. I also like to throw my thorns on the back here. That way, when they do trip this wall, it damages anybody trying to flank for here. Another good one is right here. This way, it does cut them off for the most part. They can run through this little bit, but by the time they do, it's going to be down for the most part, and it's really risky. Another wall I like to do is right over on this back wall. This is just so you can keep information, and I usually tell a teammate to play off it as well, because you can see over this thing. So even if they try to tap it, if you have like a flash character or something, it can be a very favorable fight. Another good thorns is on top of the box. It doesn't have to be behind. It reaches a little bit more onto sight, and I feel like covers a little bit better. Putting your thorns also in here isn't bad. because already going up the ropes is tough as it is. If they have to deal with this while going up the ropes, they're not winning that fight if you're holding. All right, so flank watch walls. Usually I start on this side and put it on dish. This is where I usually get lurked on the most, not gonna lie. For this one, if you do want to do it on this back wall, that way they have to commit more to the angle, that is fine. Hell, you can even do it on this back wall if you really want to. That way they really have to push out to get to the wall. You can also put it on this side here as well. Putting one over here, very simple. You just do it on the speaker. And for the main side, easiest one to do is just right here. All right, so we're gonna do the lineups on A side now. We're gonna do most of them on this box here. For the first one, I'm gonna use this kingdom logo and line my cursor, look a little bit up, and then just click throw. This will land deep into back sight and force any players here to take a lot of damage, basically. And in the same spot, we're gonna look at this little object in the distance that's white. And so basically, I'm gonna line up the right side of my right bar and then move a little bit to the left and do jump throw.
Launching Thorns.
This will bounce off the building and then land right here. It's really good since you can just smoke these two chokes and then actually fight for this space, which is even better than if you're just to take sight. All right, for a lineup on B side, we're gonna go over to this rock here. We're gonna see this little object here, and I'm gonna look in the corner and a little bit down and just left click throw.
Rip and tear.
This will bounce off the wall and land here, cutting off any players, forcing them to take damage. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of lineups here. All right, so you're gonna wanna get lodged in this corner. All right, so for this next lineup, we're gonna lodge ourselves in this corner, and then I'm gonna look at this like platform up here and put the bottom of my wall icon with that, and then we're just gonna left click throw.
Launching Thorns.
And as you can see, it lands right into, it runs right into tower here and covers all of this choke, allowing you to push sight a lot easier. All right, for this next lineup, I'm gonna go ahead and stand in this corner. You're gonna see this plant here. I'm gonna just look a little bit below it and do a regular throw. All the way over here and land right in this spot to deal damage. All right, so if you're trying to hit your Thorns on tower, you can get in this corner right here. You'll just line up the bottom triangle in the middle of those two bushes and throw. And as you can see, it lands right there in tower, and you pop it. Like I was saying, slows them and makes it much harder for them to swing, allowing your teammates to push in. For post plant, I usually like to just throw this wall if I have it. This wall also isn't bad, since anybody coming out will get hit by this. For the next one, you can place right here on this corner. It's very small, but it will give you that opportunity. However, you can also do it deeper, specifically do it right in this corner. That way they can't hop up on that box. You don't even have to peep these angles. You can literally just do this from behind the box. Now, A has some unique walls that I like to do. One of my favorites is right here on this pot. It's really hard to trip and usually only goes off when you're fully committing. What I'll do most of the time when I'm playing B though is just place one for mid. It forces them to actually come up to here to trip it and allows your team to kind of just sit back, especially if you place your Thorns here. Another good wall is this pixel perfect lineup. The reason it has to be perfect is because they can plant here if you don't, but if it's like this, they can't and it'll stall for time. For my first flash, I'll put it on the tip of this box. It looks a little bit more deeper into main and it is pretty far into sight, so they usually don't break it. For the second one, you'll do it from up here. Just throw it right here like so. This sees basically everything and is really good on the retake since they can't break it. It also clears this hell player since they usually don't notice this here and they just get full flash. Another information flash you can do is either into B main like so, or you can look all the way down here. Make sure it's a little bit above so it's not blocked. And it'll flash all here. So normally I'll just have this wall here. I'll usually tell my duelist to play here since they can escape, and then I can play towards heaven, we play together. If they do trip the wall, I pop that and I take the fights. Another one you can do is on top of this box. This will stall them for a little bit. Another one I will do is right here in this corner. This will stall them for a little bit from planting, so it is pretty good. You can also throw your Thorns at the start of the round right here. They won't be able to break it since it's in the box like that, and that's unbreakable. And when you pop it, it'll still force them to do some damage. For up here, I showed you earlier how you can just do it like this. Nothing. All right, so for walls on A, there's a few that you can do. One of my favorites is just to cut off sight like so. Another good one is just across like this. I mean, self-explanatory, it just stops the push. You can also do it on the side like this. Just note if anybody does run out here, they can still be here. So that's the only disadvantage with this wall. Another good wall you can do is right here. This forces them to commit up to the angle. to trip the wall, which is very bad for them. Can also just do this if you want it to, especially if they're running in fast with like a dash. For flashes, one of my favorites is just to put right here on the corner. That way anybody running out gets flashed. And if they do end up taking heaven, it still works for that if I'm having to play alone on site. I'll also put it on top of the screen right here, like so. It's good for the same reason as this if I'm playing towards site here. You can also get early info over here, like so. And this is what it sees. If you have people dodging your flash though, you can run into main and flash into sewers like this and scan anybody in sewers. I also like to sometimes put my flash up here, like so. Do not put it too close to the bottom here because sometimes the smoke will smoke it off. So that's why I put it up in the corner. Another good flash is right here. This way you can swing off of heaven and it is not visible from down here. It's very hard to like really see it and break it. So usually I'll have it for retake as well. For Thorns, I'll usually just place it on this line like so, or I'll throw it right here if they do like to dash out to this area. It really depends on what wall I'm trying to go for. If you want to stop any ramps pushes, you'll just get in this corner, look at the box a little bit up and throw. It'll land right here. And of course they'll take damage. What's great about this also is they can't break it unless they get up into where they get hit by the Thorns. Very easy Thorns to do. Just throw it in the corner like this. It stops them from pushing into main. I didn't do it right because you can also throw your Thorns here. Also punish anybody from coming in. Unfortunately for flank walls, there aren't a lot. A lot of the map geometry is simple, so I'll usually do this for A. Sometimes if I'm pushing away from A, I'll just do it here. If my team's pushing A and I'm pushing towards B for a lurk, I can throw it here and make sure that my flank is covered. And then for B, the barrier is usually here, so I'll just throw it like so, forcing them to trip it if they're running outside of B. All right, so for our lineups on B, there's a few spots we're gonna use. For the first one, I'm gonna stand on this trash can. You see this red circle on this sign and just left click throw. This will land straight into this little CT area, forcing them to take damage if they want to help their teammate. Now we'll go ahead and step on this ledge here, and I'm going to look at this little circle sign down towards the middle on the right side of the building like so, and just do a jump throw. It'll land right here and punish any players trying to swing this angle. This is also really deadly with a raise nade. So if you tell your raise, hey, nade this right side, you'll get a kill. The next one is also on this same ledge. You're going to line up with the building in between your Thorns and wall ability and just throw. This will land back here and punish any players back here who aren't on rafter. Now for one of my favorite lineups, we're going to walk into these 3 barrels and then we're going to use the bottom of our Thorns and then we're just going to do a left click throw. And it'll land all on rafters and hurt any heaven players jumping out. Before our mid lineup, jump on top of this bike in the spawn and you'll see this little like beam of light. You're going to aim in the middle of it and just left click throw. And it'll land over here in vents and cover all of this. All right, here are all your essential lineups for A. I'm gonna do all of them on this box in this corner. The first one is with this little pipe, and you'll just do a left click throw. It'll land right on heaven and punish any players trying to peek out of heaven. Next will be on this building right here. We're gonna look at the top window on the top left and just left click throw. It'll land right here and hurt any players trying to run out into elbow, as well as peek here. For the next one, we're going to be looking in the sky, and we're going to look at the A on this building and line it up with our wall and our Thorns, and you'll just do a left click throw. This will land towards the backside here if you're trying to push out from here, punishing any players holding this angle. All right, so now we're gonna move on to Pearl A site. For the first wall, I like to place it like this. This way they do have to come out quite a bit before actually tripping the wall. The second one I do sometimes is right here in the middle of this grayish part of the wall. For Art, usually I'll place my wall where the stairs start to descend. That way they do have to commit just a little bit to actually try and trip the wall. Then the last one I like to do is right here. You want to line up the right side of the wall indicator with this here, since this is where the bomb needs to be planted, and so this completely stalls it. And I usually throw a Thorns right here with it. If I'm going to use my second Thorns ability, I'm going to stand in this corner here. And then you'll see this door in this line up here. Just line up in the middle of the door in the line and throw. I'll land on top of the box and cover the planter when they come in and try to plant. And it goes really well with this too. If you want a lineup from A to B, here you go. It'll be in the same corner. You'll see the top of this little roof part. do a run jump throw.
Rip and tear.
It'll fly all the way to B site over here and
Thorns
land
activated.
to where it'll stop your opponents. For the second lineup to B, you can stand in this corner instead near secret. You'll see these flowers. Just look in the middle towards the pinkish part on the top and do a jump throw.
Rip and tear.
It'll land right over here and block any of them from trying to cross. So for flashes on defense A site, first one I'll do is right on this box right here, just up close. That's all there is to it, and it gets every angle. Another one I'll do is by hopping up on here and here. You can take this and throw it on the roof. That way it sees much higher and even over the box as well, and is much harder to destroy because you have to get all the way up close to here to even see it. Like, I mean, I don't even think you can see it. If you want to go for information, you can do that. Just right click and throw it through here, and it'll give you any information you need. You can also do the same thing over here on the art side, as you can see. All right, for walls, I'll start by looking at this little pipe thing on the right, and then I'll place the wall, force them to try to trip it before hitting sight. You can also do this one. It's not bad. You can also put it on this ledge here since they need to plant here. Another wall you can do is right here on the door, or you can do it right here. I usually do this one because I can do it before the barriers drop. Now for flashes on B, one of my favorites is to just literally throw it on this wall. I get so many kills off of this thing because, I mean, and this is really close, so they're not going to dodge it. Another one you can do is get on top of this box and then throw it. It's more out of the way and much higher, so it won't flash as long, but it's still a really good flash just because it is out of the way. We'll also sometimes place it over here and do jump through. This is what it sees, and it'll help any players trying to fight this angle. Can also scan for shops info by looking into here. And as you can see, it scans everything in this area. I can also look up to the top of these doors to throw my flash here for mid info. It'll scan here as well as top mid. If I need to save my flash for retake, I'll sometimes place it up here. That way it sees most of these angles. And since most players are looking this way anyways, it's in their line of sight and it's way out of the way. So good luck trying to break this. And if you have your thorns behind like this, you can make it a lot harder for them to actually plant here. For thorns, if I'm placing this wall, I'll just put it right here. That way I can get as much as possible. Sometimes I will also put my thorns here. That way if they do try to run into halls, I can punish from back here. For lineups from B to A, I'm going to use this box right here. You're going to see the dome and one of the lines here, as well as the top of this building. I'm going to look on the left of that and towards the dark line right here and do a jump throw. And this is what it looks like, damaging anybody coming in. Normally, if I do throw this one, I'll throw it off barrier drop, since by the time it does fly into here, it'll be enough time for it to stop the push. Now let's go on to attack. Starting off in A main in this corner, I'm gonna look at this with my cursor for my thorns, like so, and left click throw.
Launching thorns.
This will fly all the way over into secret area and block off all of this. For my second lineup, I'm going to see this lamp right here as well as this line on the pillar. I'm just going to go on the right of the pillar and line up there and do a left click throw. This will fly into backside, cutting off any flowers players as well as backside. And this is what it looks like together, clearing off a lot of angles. If you're trying to push into art, you can line up with this box here on the top middle part and just left click throw.
Launching thorns.
It'll land right here, cutting off any players playing here and allowing you to clear it much easier. For my next lineup, if you want to try and clear this angle here, stand in this corner, look at the top part of the left square on the brick and do a left click throw.
Rip and tear.
It'll land right here, punishing any players trying to peek off this. And it allows you to focus on this and then clear this part as a team. Now, if we're trying to tackle the B site, go ahead and stand in this corner. You're going to see these patterns on the dome. I'm going to look on the bottom one in this specific spot and left click throw. It'll land into elbow like so and cut off any players trying to swing this. As you can see, it comes in fast too, so usually they don't have enough time to break it. The next one will stand in the same corner. You'll see this top part of the building. Line up the triangle of your cursor and just do a left click throw. This will bang off this back wall and cut off any players trying to hit your planter. If you're trying to hit more towards B, you can stand over by these planks in the corner. I'm going to see this part of the dome where the pattern is. Line up the bottom left of your thorns and then look up a little bit and then throw. It'll land right here and cut off any players trying to rotate onto site. All right, so now we're gonna move on to Haven A site. My first wall that I'll normally do is this one right here. Nothing too crazy about this. Either that or I'll place it on short like so. It just covers one of the chokes, makes it a little easier if they push. If you want to cover much deeper into short, you can do this left box here. This forces them to commit to these angles before tripping the wall. If you want them to commit to a little bit more space though, you can place it on this corner right here. That way they do have to push past this choke. Sometimes I'll also put it on the side right here. This will split the site in two, allowing us to go through each side, reposition if we need to. And normally when I do this wall, I'll place my thorns right here. That way it can spread out like so. And this is all separated and we can focus on this side. Some other spots that I put my thorns right here in this corner. That way it can cover most of the choke. Sometimes before barrier drop, I'll throw it over on this box. You'll actually want to try to aim it towards the corner like so. That way it covers as much as possible. If you do it right, they cannot break it unless they get all the way up to here, which usually they don't. Another one you can do on barrier drop is right here. If you want to just stall the push. I also like to throw it right here on this wood on the right box. That way, if they are trying to push up to these angles, they are slowed. I definitely like to hold this angle whenever I pop it. That way I can just play off of it. And for the last thorns, I'll put it right on the right side of this box like so. That way it'll cover most of the short choke when they're trying to push out. For flashes, I'll usually get on top of the box from heaven, and then I'll just throw it up like so. These are all the angles it sees, and it's a very good flash if you're trying to play for retake. For the next one, I'll put it right here on this corner like so. I usually only do this one if I know they're gonna push a lot towards long. You can also scan for info for long like so. It'll see into here. And for the last one, you can do it for short by looking up here and doing a jump throw. That way it blinds any players in short and allows you to play here much easier. There's not a lot you can do for B site, but one thing I will do often, place this wall like so. If I am going to place thorns, I'll place it on the side like here or here. I'd actually say this is a little better since this pocket right here gets slowed as well. Unfortunately, because of this box, the flash isn't as good because obviously this is in your face and very easy to break. And if you were to put it on this back wall, like right here, for example, unfortunately this covers a lot of the flash. So using your flash here isn't very optimal. If I'm going to use it anywhere, I'm going to use it over here for information. Just throw it up. That way it scans deep here and deep into window. Sometimes you can put your wall deep like this. I'll usually do this if I have a teammate tucking into here. Otherwise, I'll put my wall into garage like that. For C, I'll place my garage wall most of the time, but sometimes I will place it right here. Another good one is across like this. Just be careful because they can walk past it. The whole point is for you to hold this angle right here. That way, whenever they are encouraged to do that, you can just take the fight. And if they do push you quickly, obviously the wall will stop them. Another one you can do is right on the edge of this box. Make sure this line is covered by the wall. That way, whenever they go to plant, they'll be stalled for 4 to 5 seconds, giving you more time. One of the good thorns that I do like to do is off barrier drop. Just throw it like this, and it'll cover all of the choke like so if they do choose to run through. Otherwise, I'll come over to this entrance from garage and I'll just place it a little bit away from it. That way, if they do push through here or from long, I can just cover the choke and allow myself to fight this right side much easier. I'll put it in this corner like so, as close to the corner as possible. That way I can get this whole entire right side if they do choose to push past it. By placing it there, I can swing off of this log area. For flashes, I'll normally just put it on this back wall. Nothing too crazy, it just sees a lot of angles. However, sometimes I will put it on top of this box like so. That way I can get a little bit more into garage and it's closer, so it's a lot harder to dodge. You can also scan the right side here, which sees deep into lobby. So if you have anybody trying to rat, you can clear them out with the flash as well. So unfortunately with Haven, this big building in the way makes it to where I can't really throw lineups for C from A. However, what you can do is stand by this box right here. You'll see this yellow circle and then this pillar on top. You look at the pillar on the top of it and do a jump throw. This will land right over here, blocking this right side and making it easier for your teammates. If you're trying to do a lineup from C to A, you can begin your rotation, and then once you get up to the spawn, you'll see this like little frame or doorway here. Look in the corner with your cursor and just do a left click throw. It'll land right here and block all of this A choke. If you want to hit short instead, you can stand in the same corner. You'll see this building right here in the distance. Line up your cursor like so and do a left click throw.
Launching Thorns.
This will travel all the way over here and land in short and cover the choke entirely, which is very nice. All right, so now we're going to move on to attack. For flank watch, I'll just put it on this, like so. Nothing too crazy. However, they will have to trip it, even if they try to jump on the sledge. If you are pushing A, though, and don't want this wall, you can do this one, just like Cypher Trip. And then, of course, the other one you can do is right on this box, like so. Now, for lineups on C, I'm going to do it in this corner here. For the first one, I'm just going to look on the edge of this tree here and left-click throw. This will travel all the way into spawn and cut anybody off from rotating into sight. We'll be using the same spot. You'll see this little icy mountain as well as this other mountain in the distance. Put your crosshair where they cross and then look a little bit down and do a left click throw. It'll bounce off the edge like that and hit this right side, causing anybody standing here to be stuck as well as anybody trying to run out. For A site, I'll be utilizing this little brick area. For the first lineup, I'm going to see this big like little rock structure. Put your Thorns icon in the middle like so and do a left click throw. It'll land back sight like so, allowing your team to focus right side without them pushing out. For the next lineup, I'll be standing on top of this. I'm going to point the third dash next to my flower icon on the tip of the building and then do a regular throw. It'll land back here, causing anybody trying to rotate onto site to take a lot of damage. For the third lineup, I'll be standing in this corner here. You're going to see the box like so. Just look a little bit above the left side and do a left click throw. It'll land right in here and cut off anybody trying to rotate in. Alright, so we are on Sunset. There are quite a few walls you can do on A site. One of the first ones is right here along this line here. This will make it to where they just won't be able to plant as easy. The second one I do sometimes is right here on the left wall. And no, they can't go through here without tripping it. You can also just do it on this back wall here if you'd wish. And another one you can do is right here on the edge. They can still go through here, but normally I'll pair this with a thorn of some kind. That way they can't plant over here. And it forces them to fight my teammates back here, which is usually an unfavorable fight. Sometimes I will go ahead and put it up here. That way my teammates don't really have to watch it, especially if we're leaning more towards A. For flashes on B, I'll usually just throw it right on top of here. It just flashes into main, and since it's close, just like a lot of the other ones, means they're flashed for a lot longer and is harder to dodge. For the next one, if you're trying to play for retake, get on this ledge. You look at this upper corner of the window and just jump throw. This will look deep into here and even over the box, as well as on the left and even over this ledge. If you're looking for information, you can scan through here. Just make sure you do it a little up so it's not blocked by this box. And likewise, you can also gain information here in mid if they are crossing or playing tiles. For Thorns on here, I'll usually either place that one for that wall, or if I'm playing these two walls, I'll place it right here. That way, they can't really run over to the left side. Normally, I only use my Thorns once, and for the other, I'll save for a lineup. If I want to go ahead and hit over here towards elbow, I'll just look at this box, and I'll just do a run jump throw. This will fly all the way over there and land here, allowing me to block out elbow. Now here's all the walls that I use for A site. For the first one, I'll place it in the middle of these two, and they cannot walk past this. They have to trip it. Sometimes I'll go ahead and throw it on this back wall here, like so. Nothing much to say here other than them having to commit to this angle much more. For towards main, I'll usually either place it somewhere around here, like so. I'll place it back here sometimes. One of my favorites is right on top of this wall next to the camera. That way it does flash into a good part of elbow as well as into main, and allows for your team here to play off of it. I will also sometimes go for an information flash. Very easy. Another one I'll sometimes do is right on the top over here. This one still flashes this angle, however, it flashes much deeper into elbow. And for the last one, you can just put it on this back wall like so. It flashes into main as well as into elbow. And so if you want your teammate to play off this, this helps them a lot. For Thorns, the first one I'll do is right here in the corner. That way it does cut off the choke. Another one is right here on the corner of this box. it just cuts off the choke, and since it's behind the box, they usually don't see it. However, I do prefer this one. By standing in this corner, I can look at the left side of this box and a little bit up.
Rip and tear.
This will throw it on top of here, covering this choke, making it much harder to actually hit sight. All right, to do the lineup from A to B, you'll stand on this corner here. You'll see this little like triangle looking thing. Just gonna line up your cursor like so and do a jump throw.
Punching Thorns.
And then land perfectly inside of main. All right, for the next lineup from A to B, you can stand in this corner. You'll see the tower here. Just look at that corner and do a jump throw.
Punching Thorns.
This won't land in the exact same spot. However, it will land on the right side, making it much harder to push up these stairs. All right, so for our flank watch walls, the first one for B main is right where these two flower pots are. And then the second one is right here on top of this trash can. These are the only two ones because the geometry is really simple. I mean, it's just two sides. For my first lineup for B, I'm gonna stand over by this blue box. You're gonna see this T. You're gonna line up the shield with the left side of the T and then just do a left click throw.
Rip and tear.
So go all the way over here, bounce off the building, and cut anybody off from swinging this angle, as well as jumping up to here. Another lineup you can do is in between these little things with the icon, like so, and then you do left click throw as well. So land all the way over here, and cut off anybody from entering sight from market. All right, now we're gonna do some lineups for mid using the same box. I'm gonna look at the fence here and just do a jump throw.
Punching Thorns.
This will land on the back wall and discourage anybody from pushing down mid. And if you're looking to throw Thorns for market, you can just use the left side of your Thorns icon like so, and then just do a left click through.
Rip and tear.
This will go through the window, bounce off the wall, and land right behind the little thing here,
Activated.
allowing you to push much easier, and then obviously focus right side. If you're trying to throw lineups for B but want to lurk for A, just use this box as well. I'm gonna use this lamp alongside my wall on the left side and just do a throw.
Punching Thorns.
This will land all the way back here
Thorns are alive.
and cut off any A-link players. And if I'm pushing for A with my team, I'm gonna line up with this pipe here. You'll see this flower on the right that's red, just click throw on it.
Punching Thorns.
It'll land perfectly right here. Now, if you want to hit towards the back alley area, use this white flag that's standing out and put your Thorns on it. Just left click throw.
Tear.
It'll land perfectly back here and cut off any players from trying to fight here or over in this pocket area. So we are on Icebox now, starting with the A site walls. For the first one I'll sometimes do is right on this wall here, like so. That way it cuts off any players from hitting here, unless they take pipes, of course. A similar one you can do, which cuts off this left side instead, right here on the wall. Be careful because they can pass it from up here. Another wall I like to do is right alongside here. So like this. That way they have to commit to a lot of space and then trip the wall, which buys us plenty of time. This wall is really strong. I highly suggest you guys use this. For the next one, if I want to guard this right area, I'll place it right here. This allows for much easier retakes, and you can also see their feet a little bit under here, but that's a very niche thing. I don't normally do this wall unless I'm planning on a retake. That way I do have more time and we can all just flood out to this side. For flashes, one of my favorites is to just put it right here on the top. It sees everything and just covers a lot of angles, so nothing too crazy. Another one you can do is right on this box here, like so. This covers all of these main areas, which is nice, and it's up close, so you will flash them for quite a bit. And then you can also go for information by looking on the left side here and jump throwing. This will scan early over here. Just be careful because they can hide on belt here, but normally they don't. Now for Thorns, there are a couple that I like to do. So for Thorns, I'll usually put it behind buildings like here. This one is great because it covers the entire choke. Another one I like to do is right under pipes. You'll just stand on this back wall here. You'll see the little ledge where you stand on, just left click throw there. The reason why you should do it like this is so that it's tucked underneath, and that way they have to swing like this in order to shoot it out. And this is what it all covers. Very nice, very nice. If you're looking to push them and want to Thorn belt, just go ahead and look on this dark back wall in the middle and just left click throw. This is where it lands, and obviously it covers anybody trying to peek these angles. Another one I'll do is right here on the box. That way they have to take damage if they want to go for the plant. All right, for this next lineup, you'll stand in this corner. You'll see this red light here. Look on the top left of it, but don't touch it with your cursor or else it won't work. Like so. It'll land on top right here, and it'll damage anybody trying to jump up here, as well as go on the right side. Now let's move on to B setups. For my wall, I'll sometimes put it on this corner like here. You'll do this off barrier drop, but it'll cover this entire right side, which is nice. And if you put your wall between the green and white container, you can throw it like so. My favorite one by far is this back one though. The reason why I like this so much is it allows me to play back here like a rat, take these fights in particular, but not have to worry too much about here. And then the last one right here on the plant line. That way they have to trip it in order to plant. Now for Thorns, I'll either put it in this corner here. That way I can cover the plant spot, make it more annoying. It's all right, but it's usually not the one I'll do. Instead, I'll put it in front of this box in the middle. That way it covers the choke instead, which is much nicer. I'll also sometimes put it right here. That way it covers this on the run out if they do trip the wall. And if you want to stop them from actually running on top of here, you'll see this box in the corner here. Just look to this side. The yellow and black markings will be your lineup. Just left click throw on the top of it. It'll land on top, and just like the lineup we threw earlier, it'll cause anybody on the right side to take damage and not allow them to jump on top of this container. For flashes, what I normally do is right here on the edge. That way, if my teammates are playing here, they won't get flashed. But if anybody is playing here, they will. As you can see, like this. And as you can see, it's way out of the way and it will flash them much better. However, if I'm playing more towards sight, I'll actually sometimes use my flash up here. This still flashes a good portion of them and is good for the retake, so I definitely recommend that one. And for the last one, you can look up to this top corner here. And this is really hard to dodge because it's quite literally in the middle where they have to look. For flank walls, the first one I'll normally do is this one right here. I see a lot of people use this one, but this is bad because obviously they can just boom, jump over it. So instead use this one right here. That way it does cover all of the choke and you don't have to worry about it. Unfortunately, A is almost impossible to actually hold flank with, largely because there's these two chokes, of course. So instead, I actually encourage you to use it towards sight and post plant. Now let's start with attack on A. For the first lineup, I'm going to stand on these little barrels here. You're going to see this right wall and then the red arrow. Look on the left of the arrow and do left click throw. It'll just land right here, and it'll deal all the damage back here, and they won't be able to jump on top of this while you guys are executing. Another lineup you can do is right over here on the left side of main. You'll see this back corner of the wall of the white part. Just look in the middle of that and do a left click throw. It'll land on the box right here, cover this completely, and punish anybody trying to run back here. For B lineups, I'm going to stand in this corner for all of them. For the first one, I'm going to look at this left part of the building on the white. I'm going to line up my cursor like so and just do a left click throw. It'll land all the way back yellow like so, allowing you to take this space while it's thorned and focus on this right side. All right, so we're going to be standing in the same corner. You're going to take a step forward by pressing your W key. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and line up the icon with the corner of this vent right here and do a jump throw. It'll land right here and it'll block off any players trying to take this fight or this one. And for the last, you're going to see the corner of this building. Line up your icon like so and do a left click throw. Land back here, dealing any damage to people trying to peek these angles.